So, one of my followers started texting me on my club, and she bought her first option, and she's all excited, and she made a whole bunch of money this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you also bought your first option, right?
I did buy my first option.
I feel a real sense of pride, and I'm so excited for you guys, and then I'm also feeling really scared that you're going to lose a lot of money, and that's going to be my responsibility.
I made 33% of my investment.
That's great.
It was really scary, though, because I almost lost a decent amount of it.
I had a scary week because, last week I was all into Riot, which is not riots. I'm not talking about riots. Isn't that ironic that it's got
No, we're not talking about this now.
Oh, but before, and
Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, I have an idea.
I shouldn't shut you down like that.
Well, we forgot something. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Tall Girls.
Tall Girls. Welcome to the Tall Girls Investment Club podcast.
Tall Girls?
Wow, there's so many variations we could do. Okay, I had a scary week because
I was trying to say Tesla chick, and then I realized my mistake, so I said tall girl.
I am a tall girl.
I like tall girls.
So, I was in Riot, because last week I did the whole thing about Riot, and it's my new Tesla, but I wasn't 100% sure. Now I'm 99% sure it's my new Tesla, but
okay.
But on Monday it went down. Oh, but I had a great week. I was going to point this out. Okay, this is my past 3 months return. I made 172%. That's pretty good.
Right, that's pretty good.
I don't know if that's lower or higher than the other time I showed you
That's really good.
Here's a sample day. 152% on that one, 56% on that one, 118 on that one, 25% on that one.
Well, the thing about showing sample days like this is that I feel like it's kind of biased because
I'm only showing you the good stuff.
The profit from one day. But I think it would be better if you looked at the week as a whole. Because really that's what that is it's you buy it when it's low at the beginning of the week or whatever, and then you sell it when it's high at the end of the week, essentially. It's like a lengthy process.
So I went through a lot of options this week. I bought and sold a lot. So they're all over the place. Okay, so Riot, the first day. Riot's a Bitcoin miner. So it's related to the Bitcoin price. This, by the way, was the Bitcoin price when I printed this, 40 grand. Isn't that amazing?
What is it now?
I don't know. Get your phone out and tell me.
I don't have it.
I don't either. Okay,
we're running blind.
Okay, hold on. I'll go get my phone.
That's not my phone.
Bitcoin chart. $40,525.
That's pretty good. That's the highest it's ever been. Well, no, not really.
Oh, look. It was up here. 41,400.
It was at 41. At some point in the middle of the night, I took a screenshot and I shared it with you. And I was going to say, I think this is the peak. And then I realized it might not be the peak, so I didn't say anything. And so I just sent you a screenshot with no context.
Was it at 2 a.m.?
It was around 2 a.m.
That's the peak.
Good job. Let me check. Can you check your text? I want to see if it actually was. Okay, we're gonna see if I'm actually psychic. Okay.
This peak that I think is the peak is 41,387.50
at 1:50 a.m.
No, that's Gaby.
You don't have me listed as a contact?
Well, I text a lot of people all day long. I went crazy with my political posting.
There I am.
Oops, I can't spell your name.
There it is.
39,431.
No, that was not the peak at all. Okay.
No. I know you've been a little leery. Okay, so I was scared too. Because here's the thing. I told you last week, it mimics the price of Bitcoin with a delay, right?
Right.
So Bitcoin went way up and Riot went down on Monday, and I got freaked out.
Yeah.
So I sold it. I was freaked out.
And I was like, fuck this. I'm in it for the long run.
Look, there it is. It's down 4%. And I was thinking, well, obviously I didn't do my research, But I was pretty sure I was right, but not 100. I wasn't confident enough, so I faltered. Then it started going up again, so then I bought back in.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking about it. I don't know why this little dip, maybe profit taking, but the whole week it went up. So it's like here's one day, it went up 4.73%, After hours, it went up 6.85%. Next day, it went up 17%. It went up 9.9%. It was a good week.
Yeah.
It just took off. And I feel like it's going to keep going because all these people on Wall Street are... I heard this... Okay, I was 5 a.m. I woke up and I was hearing the radio kind of half through one ear, which I do every morning. And Cramer was interviewing some guy. I think it was Cramer interviewing him. And he was talking about how all the money managers on Wall Street are buying Bitcoin hand over fist. They're hiring people to buy it.
Because they don't know how.
Is that what the problem is?
I think it might be. I don't know how to buy Bitcoin.
I did it.
Outside of Robinhood. Robinhood does it for you. Robinhood, you aren't actually buying Bitcoin. You're hiring Robinhood to do it for you.
I really like that because it's very complicated. Like when I bought it a couple years ago, I did it as an experience and also, to try it out.
Right.
And you have to memorize a password. If you forget it, it's really bad for me because I have ADD and I'm forgetful and I misplace things. And so you have to memorize the 16-word combination. They'll give you a combination like dog, foot, butterfly, pink, and it's like, how can you remember that?
Right.
But the nice thing about it is if someone wanted to confiscate your property, they wouldn't know you have it, and they can't take it away from you if you have it memorized.
Yeah.
They can't rob you of your brain, of your memory.
Well, they can't now.
They can.
They can't now, but in the future maybe.
I think Elon Musk can actually.
Elon Musk will commit brain robbery. He's going into the metaverse.
Look at
this.
So then there were these people on my club recommending. I researched and I came up with 4 additional companies that are Bitcoin companies because some people are saying Riot's overvalued, right? So I looked into these other companies. I did not do a comparison to figure out if some of them were more liquid than others or, what their asset price was. I tried to search through Jim Cramer's Mad Money stock screener. I always do that. They're not listed because I guess he doesn't believe much alternative way of buying Bitcoin. So somebody said, hey, what about JD? It was up 5.71%, and that was the day when Riot was down 4%. There's one called Mara. Somebody showed me Mara. It's in here somewhere. It went crazy. But I looked at the charts of all of them, and over time, I think they're all pretty similar. The reason I went with Riot is because I used to trade Riot 2 or 3 years ago, so I think it's an established company. I have a picture in my mind of what they do. They buy computers. They make computer banks that will mine Bitcoin. They buy Bitcoin. They invest in Bitcoin. They're constantly acquiring more computers to mine more Bitcoin.
Right.
That kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So other things I had this week, Micron technology. We were talking about, we heard on the radio there was a shortage of chips. I know it was the auto industry that announced this.
Yeah. Which I find weird.
Why?
Because I didn't think that the auto industry would be the most prevalent industry in getting superconductors. Like, obviously, you'd need them, especially for modern cars, which have basically computers in them. But it seems to me like this is something the computer industry would stumble upon first for obvious reasons.
Is it because they're coming out... Are they made in China, do you think?
I don't know.
Well, the reason I bought Micron is one of Jim Cramer's things that he talked about first thing in the morning was that Micron was going to have their earnings report on Thursday, and it was going to blow out the numbers or something, and he thought that a lot of analysts would give it upgrades after that. And then he said the words, buy, buy, buy. And I thought, wow, he's really enthusiastic about this. I double-checked on the internet when their earnings report was. So I bought it, kind of hovered around, didn't do much, raised a little bit. The morning of Thursday, it shot way up. But that lasted 5 minutes. And then it went back down. So I was tired of it. I decided I would rather put that money in Riot. So I just sold it. It was a slightly longer term option, so I didn't lose that much money. It was pretty much the same price as when I bought it.
Right.
I was right. It did shoot up on earnings, but just went right back down. And it's almost like people are just really into buying the hot new thing, and it's like, okay, we're done with this.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. I think I would have sold it on the earnings report, because I think that, for me, my stock trading philosophy is only get involved in what you know is going to happen. Like,
that's what I should be doing.
If
I wasn't sure. I just heard this. I thought, I'll give it a shot.
Well, you heard it, and then you knew that it was going to shoot up on the earnings report, but you didn't know what it was going to do after that. So I would have listened and bought it then, and then sold it as soon as I made a profit.
Well, looking back, that would have been smart. But I thought what I was understanding Cramer to say is once they come out with good earnings, then a bunch of these analysts will kind of get on the bandwagon.
Right.
Honestly, if I had been watching it more carefully, I would have seen it going down, and I would have just got out earlier.
Right. Okay.
Another thing I was in this week was Tesla.
Tesla's still going up?
You know I'm a Tesla chick because I used to make all this money on Tesla, right?
Right.
So they joined the S&P, they dipped for a little bit, and then they went up, which is what the typical pattern is.
Right.
But I didn't trust it because their earnings are something like 1,000 times price to earnings ratio or something. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a little high. So at 700, I thought, well, this is where they're going to stop. Of course, it's 880 now. But I did get in it for a little while, and then I got back out. Yeah, it could have paid a lot if I stayed until the end of the week. Actually, I sold it right here. I sold it at the peak here.
That's pretty good.
I did call the peak. That was good.
It looks like it's going back up, though.
Yeah, it does. Especially, well, after hours, it's like almost no percent here. This is 0.083%.
Right.
So that's almost zero.
When you have a stock that's really large in terms of price, I feel like it's harder for that stock to make huge percentage swings because it's like, this stock is now worth $10 more, but it's a stock that's already worth 100, like 800. I
disagree. I think the percentage can be huge because I think I spoiled you because I keep always showing you these huge percentages, but 7.8% in one day is huge.
That's huge.
That's one day.
I meant the 0.83.
Oh, you meant that.
Oh, actually, that is huge. You're right. So never mind. I'm wrong.
I think, though, that when it's a huge price, fewer people can afford to buy it because some people are only going to buy one share, you know?
Right.
So a lot of times these companies will split their. Can you believe this thing was already? They used to talk about it getting to 420 one day, and everyone thought it was a pipe dream, and it got there, and way beyond. They split it 5-1, and it's twice that again.
Twice that.
This is like 10 times that.
No, it's 420 times 2 plus 20.
It's 420 times 2, but they already split the stock in 5, so it's times 5 again.
What?
Yeah, so the stock
I don't understand that. What do you mean they split the stock in 5?
Okay, so it was like trading at 200, and everyone said it's going to go to 420. So it got up to 400, kept going up to like 1,000, and they split it into 5 parts. So each share is now worth 200 again.
Okay,
it's something like that. I'm making up numbers because I can't quite remember. So then all those shares were worth 200, but it was like a fifth of a share. So instead of 1 share for 1,000, it's 5 shares for 200 each.
That's weird, but I understand it.
That's so that the price is lower so more people can buy it.
No, yeah, that makes sense.
And then that always, whenever they split it, more people buy it because it's easier to afford for the little guy.
So they split it, and everyone who already is owning Tesla, just their number of stocks gets multiplied by 5.
Yeah, their account just changes to a different number of shares.
Okay.
Automatically.
That's just...
It's a stock
that
split.
Would have been impossible to do in the old Wall Street days, huh?
Yeah, I feel like computers have really made this easy. They probably did it.
Hey, cut everyone. We must all agree to cut our stock shares into half, and then we'll all each have half.
They don't have to agree. Oh, you mean like cut them?
Yeah, physically cut.
At 12 o'clock noon, get your scissors.
Yeah.
But I did actually get out here because I started really getting like 99% sure that Riot's the thing.
Yeah.
Or Bitcoin like properties. So the reason I'm buying Riot and not Bitcoin, once again, is Bitcoin is going up maybe 3%, while Riot's going up maybe 10%. then meanwhile I can buy options in Riot. You can't buy options in Bitcoin. It's a commodity.
Right.
So I wanted to get out of Tesla and get into Riot because I felt like, okay, this is actually most of these days it was up 4%, which is big. It's really big and it's consistent. But I was looking at Riot going up 17%, thinking I'm missing out on having more money in this.
You know, I'm just thinking the reason why Bitcoin is going up is because it's becoming more commercially accepted, right?
That's one of the reasons, but I'm getting to that. I'll go over here.
Because I'm trying to think if there's an upper limit on this and if we've hit it or if it's just going to keep going because...
It's going to keep going. This is my opinion.
There's a lot of ways that Bitcoin can keep going because of the fact that, like, it's worth so much already, and yet it's still not widely accepted in places.
Okay, we're going to take a break from all these other stocks I was going to discuss and talk about this. Okay. I was posting political stuff, and I was mad at Twitter, and I looked up Jack Ma. I mean, sorry, not Jack Ma. That's another thing I want to talk about. I looked up Jack Dorsey, who's the head of Twitter, and here's his Twitter feed. The first thing on his Twitter feed said, use Signal. Elon Musk said that, and Jack retweeted it. What is Signal, by the way? Is that an alternative Facebook?
I don't know what Signal is.
So the second tweet, he retweeted this. Sound money is essential to human prosperity, whether you are interested in creating shareholder value, preserving blah, 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 blah. Bitcoin. Stone Ridge 2020 shareholder letter. So I clicked on it and I read the entire thing very carefully. And they laid out, this is a letter, but after reading this thing that just came out, which I think came out on that day, I am so impressed. You know how we always talk about money printing?
Yeah.
So the dollar of the United States used to be equivalent to a certain amount of gold. It was linked to gold. So if you wanted to trade your dollar for a set amount of gold, I think you could, but it was worth exactly pegged to that. And Richard Nixon in 1971 disengaged the two. The theory was, we don't need gold to prop up our dollar. Our dollar is so great that our dollar is keeping gold prices high. Gold is up to $35 an ounce, and it'll be cheaper once the dollar's not related to gold anymore. So they took away the gold standard. That's what that's called.
Right.
Gold took off. Gold skyrocketed because the dollar unpegged to anything. They have this fiscal policy where they can, I think they called it something here. Let me see what it's called. I didn't print it. But they have this fiscal policy that came in the same year where they could just lend money and print more. They could lend money that didn't exist, just write it on the books as more money. So if you have an increasing supply of money and the same demand, that value is going to go down, right?
Right.
So that's what's happened to the dollar ever since 1971. Gold went from $35 an ounce to $1,600 an ounce in that time. There's no way they could buy enough gold back to make the dollar. I mean, you have $100 and $100 of gold, and all of a sudden the $100 of gold is worth thousands of dollars, and you still have only $100. You can't really buy it back. So it's going to be hard to go back on the gold standard, right?
Right.
So supply and demand. He's talking about how there's a limited demand, a limited supply of Bitcoin. It's the only currency that's ever been invented that's limited. He said the problem with gold, I got to hold on.
Well, I mean, there is a limited supply of gold.
No.
What do you mean, no? I mean, like, eventually, if we mine all of the gold in Earth, there's not going to be any more gold, and then we'll have to go to space for gold.
You would think. But what happens when gold prices go way up? They get excited in the mining community, and they say, let's go mine harder, faster, dig deeper.
Right, but eventually...
So they supply more gold, and that brings the price back down, and then they shut down that shaft. They don't use that shaft anymore because it's too expensive. So the theory, this is what this guy is theorizing. He's saying gold, there's an unlimited supply, depending on how much money you want to spend to go dig it up.
At least feasibly unlimited.
Well, it's like oil in the United States. The oil drilling in the United States, they keep shutting down wells whenever the oil price gets too low, and then they open them up when it gets too high. And if it gets too low for too long, they shut down these wells and everybody goes home, and you can't open them up that easy.
Right.
Unless it's a sustained price.
Well, my point was that eventually we may hit the point where we run out of gold to mine.
It's possible, but then, like you said, maybe another planet.
Maybe. But I think that in the case of Bitcoin, what makes Bitcoin limited? Why can't they do the same with the
I studied this.
Company?
The way they designed Bitcoin, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Now, I don't fully understand it, but I remember reading this 2 or 3 years ago. They designed it so it gets harder and harder to mine it, and you get these little increments of Bitcoin, and you're working your way up to 21 million. I'm not sure what happens when they get to 21 million. Another thing he's pointing out is how fast you can trade Bitcoin. You can make an exchange with Bitcoin. I found it hard. It took me 3 days because there was a run on Bitcoin when I tried to buy it. He's saying it's like an instant transfer. With gold, I tried to buy and sell it. And when I took it physically to the dealer, not only was it hard to find a dealer that was willing to buy it when the price was down, but they took huge commissions. Bitcoin is so much easier to transact.
That's true.
Bitcoin mining is the only profitable use of energy in human history that does not need to be located near a human settlement to operate. And this kind of inspired me, this statement, because I've always been thinking about the Navajo, and they're out in this desert. They don't have a lot of water. They don't have a lot of resources. They have nothing growing there. It's hard to have crops. It's hard to have animals. This is something they could do on the Navajo reservation. They have plenty of sun. They could set up solar energy and mine Bitcoin underground.
Well, the problem with that is that the very first thing he said is that there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin. So
it's going to be a limited amount.
Once all of the Bitcoin has been mined,
I'm not sure what happens then, but it gets harder and harder, so less and less gets mined as they approach this 21 million.
Yeah, the reason why that happens is because there's a limited number of math problems that the computers have to solve to mine the Bitcoin. And so my point is, once you reach that point, or once it just becomes like more expensive to mine Bitcoin than it is to actually own a Bitcoin, at that point,
people would stop mining it.
Yeah, so at that point, what happens to Riot? Riot's an entire company built around mining Bitcoin. So what happens when they stop?
Well, they would own Bitcoin. They would have it. And
they wouldn't have any way of getting more?
I'm not sure, because I don't understand this. But supposing they were done mining, there was no more mining to be done, they would have a bunch of Bitcoin, and people will always have a demand for money.
Right.
I feel like this is the one unifying currency that perhaps the entire world will go to.
Maybe. That's another important point.
Also, he was pointing out about these poor women in some of these countries that are oppressed, that are not allowed to work. They're not allowed to do jobs and earn money because it's against, they don't have rights in these countries, some of these foreign countries. And he was saying how these women are actually working under the table and getting paid in Bitcoin because they're not allowed to have a bank account.
Right.
So it's also liberating people. So I'm really excited about Bitcoin.
I can understand your excitement. I definitely think it's a good thing that'll impact the world to come. However, I think that the last point about it being something that can be done anywhere away from human settlement is kind of a moot point, because like by the time that starts to really come into play, people won't be mining Bitcoin anymore, I feel.
I don't know how it's structured, but it might be structured that it goes on for a century.
Maybe. I don't think so, because if there's 21 million is a very small cap, in my opinion, for there to be that much. And I understand that that's the reason why Bitcoin is so expensive, and it's why you can basically buy fractions of Bitcoin. But I'm still thinking it's a very small cap compared to how many US dollars are in the world.
Well, I don't know, but there's 300 million people in America alone.
Right.
So that means you'd have more than 10 people fighting over one Bitcoin just in America.
Right.
And talking around the world.
So if you think about it, if there's going to be a total of 21 million, And if you take how many US dollars are there in the world?
Unknown, but it's always changing, and they're always making more, right?
Right, but
and some of them aren't even printed. Some of them are just a stroke of the pen, a push of the button, and you got 100 billion more, trillions more.
Right. I'm just thinking in terms of maths, how there would be an upper limit on how much Bitcoin is worth in American dollars because of
because they keep printing the dollars.
Right.
So if you have a set amount of Bitcoin, 21 million, and then infinite dollars getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the dollar is going to get lesser and lesser in value relative to the Bitcoin.
Right.
So, which means the Bitcoin price is going to go up and up and up. And since now we have a Democratic president, House, Senate, and their intention is to spend a lot of money, that's one of the factors that is making Bitcoin go up. Another is political uncertainty, worldwide uncertainty, more people making noises like they might get into a war or something, Iran.
Oh, boy, I can't wait for the Bitcoin wars.
Yeah. So, all the reasons.
That's the other thing about Bitcoin is it's impossible to steal it, and that means that it's also impossible to forcibly transact it.
You can't be bribed.
You can't go to war with a country and then win the war and be like, okay, now I need you to consent to me taking your Bitcoin from your account.
Yeah, pay war reparations.
Yeah.
Okay, some of the other things I've been doing, Alibaba, I was in for a day. This guy, Jack Ma, who owns Alibaba, he got yelled at by the Chinese Communist Party.
Right.
And then he kind of disappeared, and everyone was rumoring, he got black bagged. So they were all rumoring Jack Ma's dead, Jack Ma's in a concentration camp. And then I'm laying there at 5 a.m, and there's this interview with one of the commentators on CNBC, and he said, I was wondering about that. So I made some calls, and turns out he's just laying low. He's fine.
Okay.
So the minute I heard that, I looked at the Alibaba stock, and it had gone way down. And so I figured, okay, it should recover. So I bought in and went back up. Went straight up after that guy talked. I bought it first thing in the morning. It kept going.
Yeah.
This was my post early in the morning. See, this post is at 6:36 a.m.
Yeah.
It went all the way back up to here, up at the top, 240. Went almost to there. So I made all that from 220 to 2. Well, that's not that much profit, but I had options, so
nice.
I made a bit.
Yeah, well, even if he's laying low, it's still not a good look for his company for the CEO to be completely uninvolved.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing stuff, but he wasn't talking in the media anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got out the minute it started cresting. I watch the chart for a shape, and when it starts curving at the top, I'm just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Tesla right there. It started curving, and I got out.
Good call.
So this is, I'm not going to say her name, but this is my friend who started texting me. She bought her very first options contracts, and then she wrote back. She was asking questions. So these are good questions. There's no dumb questions. That was going to be my opening. There's no dumb questions. Do you know why there's no dumb questions? Because any question you ask, anybody who knows the answer asked that question once. So she asked, it says my break-even point is $53 a share, but I'm already positive $100. That's a weird thing about Robinhood, right?
Well, I think that the difference there is because Robinhood bases their break-even point on the assumption that you're going to exercise the option.
So, take it all the way to the end.
The actual price of the option can be variable based on how well the stock is doing. It has very little to do with the actual price you get from exercising the option. Even when you first buy it, literally, if the stock is going up, the price of the option is more expensive than if the stock is going down, even if it's at the same point. Even if a stock is going down and it's worth $70, the option price will be less than if the stock is going up and it's worth $70.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's not weird at all if you think about it, because Robinhood isn't the one dictating the price of the options. The price of the options are dictated by the people buying and selling the options. And humans aren't computers. They aren't doing the math and saying, if I were to buy it now, it would make this much money. They're saying, how much do I think this stock is going to be worth in the near future?
Tesla did that.
And because of that, if people look at the stock and they think the stock is going to go up, the options are worth more. If they think the stock is going to go down, the options are worth less. It's all about psychology and outplaying them. As a word of it, this is something I've learned from just trading options once. Never buy options when the stock is going up. Always buy options when the stock is going down.
Like try to call the bottom?
Not even trying to call the bottom, just even if it's going up and then it goes down, I believe that there's a chance that the options will be priced lower, even if the stock is worth more if it's going down versus if it's going up. Well, I think that matters more than the actual price of the stock.
This is something we should check out because I don't know.
I have a theory on this.
Well,
I want to research it because I think it very well could turn out to be true.
It could be a delay.
I don't think it's a delay.
No, it would not be a delay.
I don't think it's a delay.
That would be the opposite. So it could be that you can get a lower price because as it's going down, you put in your order and it goes down some more and you get the lower price.
No. I think it's because people will see a stock going down
and they want out.
They don't want to be a part of the options.
Yeah, they buy high and sell low.
Yeah.
Which is making it easier for people to buy low and sell high. But, remember when we were signing you up for options and you had to answer the questions and it asked you, say your stock went down 10%, your entire portfolio went down 10%. Would you buy more, sell it all, sell a little? Remember that question? And we answered it, buy more, because that's the right answer.
Right.
So on Riot, on Monday, it went down 10%. And I sold it because I was chicken.
Why?
So I was chicken. I doubted myself. So I know the right answer and I didn't do it. I should have bought more.
I should have bought more. I would have made more money.
Well, I was harassing you to buy Riot all week. And every day it would go up like 17%. And then you were like, it must be over. But I was reading something about that on the Bitcoin article. And he's saying a lot of people will think they missed it. But this is just the beginning. He laid out a whole case for that.
I think it is just the beginning. I'm interested in investing in Riot. I do think I'll have to look up what the amount of Bitcoin in circulation currently is, because once we start getting even near the 2100, I think we're going to see corporations that are focused on mining Bitcoin crash.
Well, we should study this and really understand it since we're investing in it.
I agree. But just knowing that the number is limited and knowing that they have to put more and more effort into mining it as that number gets closer is enough to tell me that that tells me that eventually we're going to see it crash. It could be years from now.
This person who's trading also wrote me, is it normal for Tesla premiums to be so cheap? And the premium she means is you have the strike price, and if it's the same as what the stock price is trading, the premium is the difference between that and what you actually had to pay, which is a little more. You pay the premium.
Right.
So she's like, well, is it normal for them to be so low? And she sent me this picture. The prices were all $1. They were tiny. I looked, actually, and it said that they expire in 2 days. So that's why things can be very, very, very cheap. Because if you don't get over that threshold,
I made the mistake of buying short-term options because they were cheap, and then it was stressed out. I would have made money if I had held on to them for the whole week and just
you missed out. Yeah,
but
not exercise. You can't exercise them. You don't have enough money, but you could have sold them. The word you're looking for is to sell them before close. Like the market closes at 1, so you have to sell them by like 12:30 and get out of there.
Right. Okay.
There's no pressure.
So they expire as soon as the market closes.
Michael, there's no pressure. You don't have to freak out about finding a buyer.
Okay.
They have a value. So at Schwab, what they do is they call you up and say, hey, do you want to exercise this option or do you want us to just give you the difference? And then I always say, give me the difference because I don't have the money to buy all those shares.
Right.
So they just do it mathematically with a touch of a button with some computers,
Okay.
So you could either, if you don't communicate with Robinhood or you don't know what they're doing, you should just sell it before it ends, before it expires. But you won't get a zero. You'll either get a bunch of shares and they'll say, hey, now you owe us $10,000 or they'll give you the money.
Okay.
So I suggested to her she stick to 30 days or greater because especially when you're first starting out. But she bought these short-term options and Tesla went way the hell up. And she wrote me back and she says, she's really happy. Woohoo, the nervousness from yesterday is gone. I bought new contracts this morning. I'm up a Model Y. Here's the thing about Tesla. There's a guy saying, Tesla's going to plummet. And there's another guy saying, the new price target is 810. And he said that when it was 700. Now it's 880. So who knows?
Who knows?
So I don't really trust Tesla. You don't either, right?
I don't. Well, at this point, Tesla has become a currency of its own. It is no longer about...
Yeah, it's another Bitcoin. It is no
longer backed by the stock. It's just about what the Tesla stock is worth.
Yeah, it's supply and demand of Tesla stock.
It is no relation to the company whatsoever anymore.
I agree. It's like supply and demand of the stock. Also, the
Tesla stock has become a product in and of itself.
She wrote another thing. Quick question. If I purchase out of the money contracts, can I still make a profit? So out of the money, if it's trading for 700 and you buy a contract for 800, that's out of the money. It's got to get up to 800 before it's in the money. If you buy 600, it's in the money. It's worth $100 already.
I bought out of the money thinking that...
Wait, you bought out of the money?
I did, slightly.
Yeah. So those in particular, when you buy out of the money, if it's not getting close to your number fast enough, it's...
But I bought a 1 week out of the money option as my first option.
How far out of the money?
Like $1.
On Riot?
Yeah.
I remember you keep saying, oh, my break even it's not there yet. It's not there yet. And I was like, it went up 17%. How can it not be there yet?
That's why it wasn't there yet.
So I wrote back.
I thought that was my only choice. I don't know why, but I just felt like buying in the money felt like cheating.
Well, I think it did.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that you couldn't afford it.
No, it's like that's cheating. You're buying money it's guaranteed.
That's a good idea, though, especially when you're starting out.
Nah, that's cheating.
Well, okay. Here's
a kilogram of feathers isn't worth a kilogram of bricks. That's cheating.
One reason I buy out of the money is like if I can't afford the in the money and I'm planning on selling it before it expires, or I was gonna say something I forgot. Never mind.
What's heavier, a kilogram of steel or a kilogram of feathers?
Yes. I wrote back, slow answer, because she said quick question. So I said slow answer. So she said, if I purchase out of the money contracts, can I still make a profit? I said, yes, as long as they expire in the money higher than what you paid. So like if you paid $1 and they expire $1 above what the strike price is, you make your money back. So you stress out all week, sweat bullets, and you just get your money back. Not worth it, right? So, but you can make more. What I was going to say is this. The reason you might want to buy out of the money contracts is they're so much cheaper. You can buy way more of them.
Right.
Instead of buying one $100 contract, you could buy 10 $10 contracts.
Right.
Then you're controlling 10 times the stock. So as it climbs, every dollar the stock climbs, you're making $10 instead of $1.
Right.
But it only works if you either get out in time or it goes way past your strike price.
Yeah.
So that's my how-to for the day.
Okay.
Central banking is the cause of severe economic downdrafts, not the cure. So every time we have like a financial problem in the United States, they try to fix it with printing money. Oh, we're going to fix it. We're going to prop up the economy. But it's actually causing a ballooning effect on the economy that's got to burst at some point.
I agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment.
Although I feel like we're in the inflating stage. So it's time
to just ride the wave,
let's
baby.
Ride it. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Bye.